Okay, we are mammals and we are made to breastfeed. So, here we go. You're going to see that he's going to latch himself. But you have to be in the reclined position, otherwise, like gravity is working against you, they won't be able to find you. And the same with any other mammal. If they're not in the right position, they won't be able to succeed. So this is what I want you to do. And teach the nurses. And the midwives. The midwives are pretty good.
A však pohodí. A však teraz má tu nájsť a však zrušiť tento.
And there he is. Easy as that. All right, skin to skin increases success rate of breastfeeding. So this guy, Dr. Niels Bergman, he's sort of the guru of skin to skin. And this is his invention, him and his wife. And this is how they do their skin to skin. So your hands free and you can do skin to skin. You can sleep, you can eat. But this is where the babies love to be. So you think of any other mammal and you think, has anyone had a puppy or a kitten from the time they were just taken away from their mom? Anybody? None? Nobody? Yeah, you have? Mm-hmm. So what do they do? Like when they're away for the first nights?
They're looking at for something to suckle on all the time.
And they're crying, aren't they? They're crying because this is where they're used to being. So what have we done? And when I was at the conference with Dr. Niels Bergman, he gave us the history of the incubator. And it's all about separation. It's all about the medical system taking control. And they really thought that this was a better environment for the babies to be in. So if you can I tell parents, like, if you have a tight t-shirt or an undershirt or something that you can put your baby in, like, or some kind of wraparound or something for the first couple of weeks, actually, then their transition period is much gentler and it's going to be easier on you because they're not going to cry as much right here. And then when they want to breastfeed, they just go ahead and breastfeed. So.
Hello, Ben. Oh, yes, he's trying to get comfy.
A special time for mom and baby.
It's a nice, calm moment to share, and it's relaxing.
Skin-to-skin care is the practice of holding your baby belly down on your bare chest. Developed out of necessity for premature babies in South America, skin-to-skin is now greatly encouraged for all healthy newborns.
Pediatricians and nurses in maternity wards realized that this was not just for preterm babies, that in fact, as our medicalization of birth separated the mother more and more, that we actually had to make a conscious effort to bring that baby literally and physically back to the mother right from the moment of birth.
And it's just where they're supposed to be. You know, this is quite a transition coming out of the uterus. And this is about as close to the uterus as the baby can get.
While skin-to-skin increases the likelihood of successful breastfeeding, the practice is also recommended for bottle-fed babies, as it can help maintain body temperature, regulate breathing, stabilize baby's heart rate, help with blood sugars and weight gain, and help babies spend more time in deep sleep.
All those things have a huge literature at this point supporting that it's either as good as our very high-tech care, or in some studies actually better than our high-tech care.
Another encouraging finding, babies who are snuggled this way cry less.
So lots of moms that have babies that are even fussy, we recommend even more skin to skin because of this relaxation hormone that goes on, stressor hormone down in you and the baby, and it calms the baby.
While infants crave this type of cuddling, there are profound bonding and emotional benefits for mom.
Mothers feel more competent. They feel more that they are able to provide for their baby. That there's also evidence that they are able to read their baby's cues more accurately, that they're more sensitive to their baby's needs.
And for dad.
It's very relaxing. It's very calming. There's nothing like a baby sleeping on you to really relax you.
And if you're wondering whether too much skin-to-skin contact can spoil a baby, Dr. Johnson says quite the opposite is true.
Newborns need to know that when they are uncomfortable or when they need something or when they're distressed, their needs are going to be met and they're going to be held. That security and that dependability of a response to their needs is what builds the foundation for a secure, competent, confident individual.
For CNN, I'm registered nurse Linda Champa.
Oh, you hungry?
The how-tos of breastfeeding. So how many times per day? How is milk made? How do I know my baby is getting enough? 1 or 2 breasts? What is cluster feeding?
As a mother, you may be concerned about your ability to make enough food for your baby. A mother will often blame her baby's cries or frequent waking on a low milk supply. This is the most common cause of a mother's decision to introduce a bottle of formula. To understand how you can ensure your baby is getting enough to eat, it is important to know a few facts about milk supply. The human breasts can produce more than 2 liters or 65 ounces of milk in a 24-hour period. A 2-day-old baby may need 10 to 100 milliliters, 1/3 ounce to 3 ounces, of breast milk a day compared to an older baby who will drink between 700 to 1,000 milliliters, 23 to 33 ounces in the same period. What drives milk production is removing milk from your breasts. If your baby is feeding frequently and taking milk from your breasts, you will continue to make milk. In other words, it's a perfect supply and demand system. 2 to 5 days after delivery, your breast will feel fuller and warmer. If your baby is not feeding well or is being given bottles, your breast may become very hard or engorged. When your baby is 8 to 12 days old, you'll notice that your breasts feel softer than they did in the first week. This is a sign that your milk supply is adjusting to the baby's needs. In the morning, your breasts might feel full, while in the evening, they may feel softer. This is normal. Monitoring wet and stool diapers is another way to ensure adequate milk supply. A newborn will have 2 or more stools per day, which will change from dark black to green and finally to yellow and seedy by day 6. At that time, the baby should be wetting 6 to 8 times in 24 hours. If the baby is not having bowel movements or if pink or orange spots appear in the diaper, it is important to check with your health professional. Around 2 to 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, the baby may suddenly feed more often and appear fussy. The behavior usually lasts for 24 to 48 hours. This is how your baby signals your breast to increase your milk supply. Resist the temptation to give a supplement, as this will interfere with the natural process that is helping your body make more milk. The more milk the baby takes from the breasts, the more your body will produce to increase your supply. Many mothers ask if it's okay to top up a feeding with formula to make sure baby is getting enough. In addition to decreasing a mother's milk supply, problems may develop with the baby's immune system if fed formula. Here are a few tips to ensure you are producing a good supply of milk. Feed your baby frequently in the first few days. A newborn may feed as many as 10 to 14 times in the early days after birth. This is temporary. It helps your body and your baby adjust to how much milk is needed for your baby's growth. Make sure that your baby is latched on deeply to the breast with the nipple pointing to the roof of your baby's mouth. Resist the temptation to give a bottle of formula if your baby is fussy or wakeful. It is common for newborn babies to feed more at night, and it may take them longer to settle. Many mothers find it helpful to sleep more during the day. Don't assume cries are always related to hunger. Explore other ways to calm your baby if he is fussy. Check for urine, pee, and stool, poo, in the diapers. Proper milk removal is the only way to increase your milk supply. While drinking fluids is important to keep you hydrated, it does not increase your milk supply. Drink according to thirst.
The other thing I want to say about this is that if for whatever reason your baby has to be supplemented for medical reasons, so the doctor says no, absolutely, like we need to supplement, they don't usually give any parameters for supplementing. So what I will tell you is that if your baby if you need to leave the hospital supplementing your baby with formula, you supplement until your milk comes in and then stop supplementing. Because the sooner you stop, then the sooner that it will not interfere with your milk production. If you wait longer, it'll take longer to rectify that problem, and then normally we get into more and more problems. The other thing to say is that your biggest milk production time is in the first 2 weeks. That is when your body is in high gear to make milk. The more interruption there is in that first 2 weeks, the harder it is to get a full milk supply. And it's harder if you come to me at 2 weeks, or if you come to me at 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Some moms come to me at 3 months and said, I've never had a full milk supply, but now I'm really ready to kick it into gear. It's a lot harder it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's never impossible, because even adoptive mothers can breastfeed. So, but it's easier in the first 2 weeks. For the first 2 weeks, you start with both breasts. For women that have a very high production, usually their babies will just naturally progress to one breast at a time. For women that have lower supply of milk, their babies will continue to take both breasts at every feed. And there's no hard and fast rule. That's what makes this difficult, I think, is because we've lost all our instincts. Because we're coming from a bottle-fed generation, we don't trust our instincts. But hopefully as we become more of a breastfeeding culture, then we'll gain those instincts again. So breast compressions. Breast compressions can help you in the first couple of weeks of breastfeeding. What it does is that it is a gentle squeezing of the breast. It's sort of like squeezing the milk container, and it helps the baby because the baby is learning this for the first time as well. So they may start off very vigorous and then peter out really, really quickly, like in 5 minutes. But to maximize the amount of breast milk intake, we want you to use compression, so it's a gentle squeeze, an even squeeze, and it might buy you an extra 5 minutes. You squeeze when the baby has stopped sucking. You can continue holding the squeeze. The baby will start sucking. When the baby stops sucking again, you release, and then you squeeze again. And you start this before they fall asleep, because they can fall asleep very quickly at the breast in the first little while. So we'll show you a little video clip, but this is Dr. Jack Newman. Well, this is not Dr. Jack Newman, but he's in here. And on his website, actually, if you go on his website, you can watch all these video clips. It's really fantastic. And he also Oh, I'll speak a little bit about Dr. Jack Newman. He's a pediatrician in Toronto who has been helping women breastfeeding for 30 years or so. If it's been 25 for me, it's been about 30 for him because he's older than I am. And yeah, he's fantastic.
Breast compression makes breastfeeding more effective and works very well in the first few days to help the baby get more colostrum. It can be helpful when you think that your baby isn't getting enough milk. For example, if your newborn tends to fall asleep at the breast, if your baby isn't gaining enough weight, or if feedings are taking longer. By compressing her breast, this mother is sending more milk into her baby's mouth. Make sure you keep your fingers well behind the areola without moving them along the breast. Compress your breast for 5 to 10 seconds, release the pressure, and then compress it again. The compression should not hurt and should not pull on the areola. When breastfeeding improves, you'll no longer need to use this technique.
And a lot of people don't know about this. So their babies really are taking about half of the amount that they could be taking. So with this, you can pretty much double the amount that they're taking in the first weeks. Now, of course, you don't have to do this to a baby that's 3 months old. They just slap on there and they know what they're doing. But it's because everything's new at first, and the milk is not like just squirting out like it will be like in the second or third or fourth week kind of thing. So.